2025. The return to Windsor Park.
We'd won 3 premierships in a row, which, I mean, would never have expected, and we were very, very fortunate, and it's probably a testament to why the club is as healthy and as strong as it is today, is the volunteers and people that have been around the place over the years.
It stems back to, and Finch will back it up, it just stems back to playing a lot of football with the same people. He certainly had the guys looking over their shoulder over the years. They were all scared of him. He'd leave the club here on a Saturday night after a home game, and they'd be like a herd of wildebeest running out the door to get the cigarettes in.
Yes, today's the only day that counts, so we won it. And then we ran back out on the third quarter, and the players just went berserk.
And then caused the Fosters and Bogues debacle.
We only won by a point over a great win over North Launceston, but we came together very well, and it was just a tremendous day and a great effort in football.
76 was a big learning curve for me. I was only a young fella, and Phil Horn was the coach.
The Premier at the time, Eric Rees, was here to officially open the club rooms on the 4th of May 1968. And a game that you played in, you got good memories of that day?
Well, I think I can't remember the Premier, but I certainly remember the match.
$1875. $150 years ago. Tasmania's oldest club. A club's history transcending over the years and decades, the half-centuries and centuries, and now beyond. The Launceston Football Club.
Yeah, that's probably your inspiration is the names that have come before you, and the rich family histories.
That guy that's sitting at the end of the bar,
who is probably 70 or 80 years old, know who he is and why he's there and what he's contributed to the club.
People that came here in the 80s are still here working. That's what's kept it going.
In the under-12s, I was the trainer. They gave me a pair of white overalls and a packet full of jelly beans, and they said, if someone gets hurt, give them a jelly bean and they'll come right. And that's how I started.
They used to have some junior kick-around games just for kids that used to turn up over at the brickworks.
Well, the first Auskick morning, one Sunday morning, before the actual junior started, was held here and every other club, I think, around Tasmania. And I felt like the Pied Piper.
Yeah, the ground was appalling.
Your general footy club Thursday night players too. You know, your chips and your sausages and all that. And he stood up and said, my players aren't eating this shit.
You know, Newton Boy, Brooks High, just played all my footy at North Launceston, thought I'd live and die there.
My part for the day was with Bob Withers was, if I don't get a kick and John Burns doesn't get a kick, I've done my job back in them days.
So we were short of players that day, so my start to senior footy probably started that day. I played 2.5 games after hitchhiking down there because I missed the bus. Used to have a cricket pitch in the middle when I first started.
They had no money, so we just gave it our all.
And he was eating his glucose paste or something. Come in after training and sat us all down, and he was just going off his head about these suspensions and this. It was just flying out of his mouth, and as a 16-year-old kid, we thought, wow.
Had a pure hatred for Launceston, you know, so yeah, it was certainly something that I didn't expect, but it's something that I do cherish now.
You know, we didn't know any better. Yeah, no phones or anything like that, so what do? You hang around with your mates and go and have a kick.
Under 19s would be pushed over in the far corner.
We'd often just wander up, a group of 10 or 12 of us, as the parents are up here drinking frothies, up to Joe's Takeaway and fish and chips on the way home.
I think when we talk about premierships, I know my dad saying to me that we basically won a flag in every era other than the 90s. It was the one that we missed.
This was brand new, so a lot of girls that hadn't played before, didn't know positions, didn't know anything about the game really, but just knew they had a passion for playing.
You know, it was like an under-14 game of basketball. We'd go at one end, come down the other, and if you scored 2 goals, you would probably predominantly win the game.
They really pushed the club to have a women's team. I know another club were asked to have a women's team in the north, but they just blatantly rejected. And, you know, back then it was women shouldn't be playing football.
The highs and the lows, like it was, probably makes my story a little bit more special for me is I was here when it was hard, and to leave when the club was in such a strong place was, yeah, pretty awesome.
They basically formed the NTJFA.
It was a wet area here, so I think this was a favourite pocket, wasn't it, over here in front of the wet area. So, no, there's a bit of atmosphere out here back in the day.
No lights, the ball would hit you in the head, and yeah, so, and it was always boggy.
Half of them sat down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halfway through the last quarter, they didn't like how things were going.
Yeah, well, we missed out on a few games. We were locked out of Longford.
The girls met with some other clubs, but they decided that Launceston was where they wanted to be.
Adam, who was our senior coach, was a pretty strong disciplinarian, and drove us pretty hard. So we were always of the mentality that you play hard and you party hard together as well, and we certainly did that.
We got knocked around a bit, and we ended up having quite a famous victory, and I just felt that galvanised the club.
It's profound, and it set the club on a course of not only professionalism but standards that people keep trying to strive for today.
The 2017 and 2020 premierships really stood out. Waited for the boys to come back from Hobart, and then we all sung the song in the middle of the ground.
The beer war certainly contributed to it, I think.
So I'm going to have to stay quiet on that. I'll leave that to Chop.
Supporters are in the club, which just makes it thrive. Like you don't have a football team if you don't have supporters and people that want to volunteer and things like that. It makes a football club, and we really appreciate that a lot. It's really good.
Just support from those that were here. Understand that you get through tough times. You just got to stick together and work your way through it.
you.